Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host, Gershwan, and today we continue talking about Iron Warriors as we get into the Warsmith Shon'Tu. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K lore videos every single day. If you have any suggestions for topics, please let me know what they are in the comment section below. And if you enjoy our content, thank our patrons on Patreon. It is because of them that we can do this. Link in the description if you guys want to support us. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Warsmith Shon'Tu. One of the Iron Warriors Traitor Legion's most notorious warsmiths, and the commander of the Chaos Warband, known as the Sons of the Forge, is Chaos Lord Shon'Tu. This infamous Chaos Space Marine traces back his origin to the Great Crusade, when the Emperor still walked amongst man. His notoriety has become attached with not only death and destruction, but to the honored and stoic Imperial Fist captain, Darnith Lysander of the Imperial Fist chapter. For centuries, these two warriors have been at each other's throats, and it seems as if the rivalry has no end in sight. Shon'Tu was present during the Siege of Terra, and like most within the Iron Warriors, he swore an eternal hatred for their bitter rivals, the Imperial Fist. This hatred would manifest in the mid-40th millennium, when the Imperial Fist Second Company, under the command of the newly promoted Captain Lysander, deployed to break the siege of Hadrake Tor, a planet in the merciless grasp of Warsmith Shon'Tu. Having secured the high ground, Lysander's strike force set up teleporter homers to summon the Terminators of the First Company into the thick of the fighting. However, things went awry, and many of the Terminators materialized over deep chasms or in solid rock, including the captain of the First Company. Before dying of his wounds, he thrusted the Thunderhammer, the Fist of Dorn, into Lysander's hand, and bade him to seek vengeance through victory. This Lysander did, leading the survivors of the First Company alongside his own to shatter the Iron Warrior stronghold. Shon'Tu fled the planet in defeat, but he left a mystery in his wake. Survivors spoke of how the Warsmith didn't care about looting the world, and had instead buried himself in search through the millennia-old archives of the planet. Unfortunately, there was no way to know what Shon'Tu was looking for, as he destroyed the archives before making his escape. Many Imperial savants believe that he was attempting to find solid proof of his connection to the infamous warlord of the Dark Age of technology by the same name. But if this is true, that would make Shon'Tu one of the oldest living Chaos Space Marines in existence. This has not been verified, and it is believed to be a delusional idea made up by the Warsmith himself. As the 40th millennium drew to a close, the Imperial Fist strike cruiser Shield of Valor was lost in the warp. All hands, Lysander amongst them, were lost alongside, with slender hope of their return. Cast far off course by the whimsy of the warp, they were flung forward through the centuries and far across the galaxy. When the Shield of Valor finally emerged into real space, it did so in the fading years of the 41st millennium, and in the orbit of Malodrax, an Iron Warrior fortress on the Eye of Terror's fringes. Swiftly disabled by the world's formidable defenses, the strike cruiser was boarded, and a handful of survivors, Lysander being one of them, was taken as prisoners. Lysander's captor was none other than Warsmith Shon'Tu, who brutally tortured the stalwart Imperial Fist over many weeks. Even though he was weakened because of the torture, the captain somehow tore free of the bondage weeks after his capture. Without any weapons or armor, he created a storm of destruction on Malodrax's capital, seizing control of a shuttle and then escaping with two of his battle brothers. It was then that Lysander swore eternal vengeance upon the hated Warsmith. Once he was back with his chapter, he was reinstated as captain of the First Company. Lysander's first act of command was to lead the Imperial Fist to Malodrax in the late 41st millennium. He wanted to scorn the Iron Warriors from the planet. Unfortunately, Shon'Tu eluded Lysander's grasp and made good his escape. Lysander would eventually catch up with Shon'Tu, as he led 3 companies to liberate the planet of Taladorn from the Sons of Forge and his old nemesis many years later. However, the captain was too proud to accept aid from the Ultramarines and the Blood Angels, and his actions led to unnecessary casualties for the Imperial Fist. It was so bad that Captain Vogan of the Third Company was killed, and his entire force was ravaged before Captain Cato Sicarius of the Ultramarines overrode Lysander's objectives and intervened. Taladorn was freed, but Warsmith Shon'Tu escaped. At this point, the entire Imperial Fist chapter and their successors were hell-bent on capturing and eliminating Warsmith Shon'Tu, and when learning that the Warsmith was responsible for an earlier Tyranid incursion and an Orc Wog in the Magor Rift, Chapter Master Hagen ordered the Phalanx to Mallodrax to end the Warsmith's threat once and for all. While most of the chapter assailed Shon'Tu's planetside stronghold, Captain Tor Garradon of the Imperial Fist Third Company, alongside Cato Sicarius' Ultramarines and the Blood Angels, conducted boarding actions of the recently reclaimed Leviathan war barrack, Tamunash. Together, the boarding parties managed to destroy enough critical systems for the Phalanx to gain the upper hand. As Tamunash began to break apart, Garradon was defeated by Shon'Tu, but Lysander teleported aboard Tamunash's command deck and gravely wounded the Warsmith. The Space Marines managed to escape with a Thunderhawk gunship, and the dying Tamunash vanished into the warp, taking Shon'Tu with it. After this battle, Shon'Tu was thought to be dead. However, later in the 41st millennium, Imperial Fist veteran Sergeant Tynon was discovered dead on the world of Endrion while training Cadians. The words "Shon'Tu lives" were carved into his chest. Later, Lysander tracked remnants of the Sons of the Forge to the Toriok system. However, they find only one dead Chaos Space Marine there, an Iron Warrior who the Imperium thought had taken command of the warband following Shon'Tu's death. He was found disemboweled and chained with the word "Shon'Tu lives" smeared in blood next to his corpse. Not much was heard from Shon'Tu until he returned to exact his vengeance on the Imperial Fist late in the 41st millennium. He allied himself with the demon Be'lakor. Shon'Tu planned to hijack the Phalanx and use it to bombard Terra's Imperial Palace. Taking the Imperial Fist by surprise, he found only the battered Third Company defending the vessel. Ultimately, the dual plot was foiled thanks to the intervention of the Legion of the Damned, and the Warsmith was thought to be killed by 1st Company Squadron of Terminator Sergeant Furon. And those were 40 facts on Warsmith Shon'Tu. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope I pronounced the name correctly. When I created the original 40 facts on Lysander, you guys said I mispronounced a lot of things, and one of them was the name of this Warsmith. So this Warsmith, his name is spelled Shon''Tu. I thought that it was pronounced Shon'Tu, but you guys said that that was incorrect. And based on the fact that the Iron Warriors have Asian names, I assume that it would be pronounced Shon'Tu, because that is the closest thing that I can find online to pronounce the name in that way. I didn't actually find that name, and it's not really connecting to any type of general that I know or that I was able to look up, so I'm guessing it's Shon'Tu. If I did that wrong, just correct me, put it down in the comment section below. I'm sorry, but when you look at like Warsmith Hanso, when you look at like other members of the Iron Warriors, they usually tend to have Asian names or Asian sounding names. So I just went with Shon'Tu. It's kind of interesting with the Iron Warriors because like when you think of like Asian last names, you obviously think of the White Scars, and the White Scars have that because of their whole like Cho'Garis, and like the White Scars Primarch is supposed to be alluding to Genghis Khan and all that kind of stuff. But with the Iron Warriors, if you check out our 40 facts on the origins of the Iron Warriors, it's because a lot of their recruits, I believe, came from what became of Asia during the Unification War, or like the Age of Strife. That region of Terra had a techno-barbarian warlord that basically was like China, and like what happened to that superpower as the evolution of Terra went along. And then finally with the Unification War, the Emperor swept in, but those recruits came from that region and they went into the Legion of the Iron Warriors, which is why you get those names, not just with these two, but like with all Iron Warrior names. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, check out our 40 facts on the Unification War or the Age of Strife. Those are really good videos for you to understand like the history of Terra. It's interesting because everybody has a place to play, and every single legion has a location or a region for the most part that they recruit from. Obviously some of like the big ones, like the what was the Black Legion before? The Luna Wolves. So like the Luna Wolves had like something a little bit different, and so did the Alpha Legion because they were the last ones. But yeah, you should check that out if you're interested in that. And hopefully this helps you create either background to your Iron Warriors Legion or Chaos Warband, or you just straight up just use Shon'Tu on your as like one of your leaders or something like that, even though It's said that he might have died. Did he really die? I mean, I don't know. It's chaos. He might come back later on. But either way, like, you can still use him. It's vague enough for you to, like, throw him into some type of battle nowadays, especially if you're running a narrative crusade. You could say, like, oh, he came back and now he's fighting for chaos once again and all that kind of stuff, because he is one of those guys that is probably going to have a rivalry with Lysander for the rest of his life. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have suggestions for any other Warsmith or any other character, let me know what it is in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. This was Gershwin with One Mind Syndicate signing out.